Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You can get a job in the Middle East simply by trying or by magic, through others, or by fluke. Remember that competition is everywhere. Some here, some there, but bam! Loy Macedo is the best.
All right. People generally, they call me up and they ask, okay, Loy, you've been in UAE 40 years. What are some of the loopholes of the system, or what is it I need to do in order to succeed? Now, I generally give them a standard answer based on whomsoever it is, because these points that I'm going to state to you next is more or less, I think, the fundamentals that help anyone in any part of the world. But I would say in the Middle East, it works even more. The simple reason being is, the Middle East market, or UAE, is very unique in its working style, in its laws, in its mannerisms. For example, I'll give you an example. In the West, they'll not ask you for your photograph when you apply for a job. They'll not ask you which religion. They'll not ask you if you're married or single. They'll not ask you personal questions during the interview. However, in the Middle East, they can ask you all these things. Oh, are you married? Are you single? Which religion? Which nationality? Or the HR will call you and say, please send me your photograph. Now, what has a photograph got to do with a job? Unless, of course, it's cabin crew or front office, or you have to show your face for a brand. So these are the markers that I have kept in mind. Now I'll give you my 5 points. You can tell me whether what I'm stating is right or wrong, and put your comments. The first one, this goes without a doubt. Okay, there's a magic word in UAE called Wasta, WASTAA, or WAASTAA. See how I WAASTAA. That's an Indian, or my way of saying it. You ask a Brit, W, how do you say? WAISTAI. Okay, anyway. So Wasta is nothing but contacts, connections, and influence. Now, why do I highlight this is because it's very simple. You can be absolutely competent with your job. You can be absolutely competent with your job. You can be really good at your job. You can be, see these doggies running. Stop. Go back. Don't chase them. Go. Oh, too many dogs, man. Look at that. Look at this one. This guy is a little aggressive. He doesn't give a damn. But this one is like a little afraid. Now, the reason I don't want them to run is because people will poison them, and some people even kidnap these dogs to resell them. The owners just went, I know the owner. Anyway, so Wasta, contacts and connections. See, it's very simple. There are many people in the corporate hierarchy who are not good at their jobs. They are good at ass kissing, and some of them are average, and some of them, like, they proved themselves early on in their career, but now they are just warming the chair. And these people, they have a stronghold of their position. They will make sure that nobody comes on top of them or equal to them, or even who is worthwhile will not be given the job because they have their own candidates. Now, the reason why these people are in these positions of power is because they know who to keep in touch with, whom to keep happy, how to play office politics, whose ass to kiss, how to kiss, So, without a doubt, the first secret is Wasta. Now, the question is, okay, Loy, I joined this organization, what do I do? I can tell you only what I used to do. When I used to join, this is later on in life, I would always make sure I knew the owner, I was in touch with the owner, I interacted with the owner, and I spent time with the owner. Now, how you do that, that's another story in itself. But I'll tell you, throughout the majority of my career, I was only close to the owner. Not the HR, not anyone lower. And even though I didn't know it at that time, but this made my life so much more easier. This kind of gave me a protection, kind of, force field that nobody could attack me or cause problems. Now, what I'd suggest to you is figure out ways and means how you can get close to the owner. And if you're interested to know how one of my friends did it, comment down below. I will tell you how he did it, even though he didn't know anyone. North Indian guy who used to play cricket and eat onions and didn't have any style. But he made the company's CEO, the most powerful guy, the closest friend he ever had, How did he do it? You comment down below, and if I see large number of people interested, I'll tell you. Otherwise, engagement, Baba, I'll do something for me, I'll do something for you. Okay, that's number one. Second one, I think this is a question people need to generally ask themselves, which they are not. When you create a CV, when you go for an interview, when you meet someone and give them their business card, when you start networking, this should be the fundamental question you should ask yourself. And majority of the people never do that. When I see the CV, I'm like, it's a glorified document praising your ass and trying to make yourself look like, wow, I'm God's gift to mankind. Who the fuck cares, man? You're giving your business card. The guy will take a business card and start flossing his teeth. And some of them take a business card and throw it out. They just throw it. You shake hands with someone in a networking event. After 2 minutes, someone asks him, who is this guy? I don't know. In fact, you yourself would not remember who you met unless he was some big guy. So, what is the question you need to focus here? The question here is, what is in it for me? This is the question everybody asks. Why do you think people come and kiss rich people's ass? Powerful people, oh sir, yes sir, bow their heads and nod their heads and dance, ha ha, sir, your joke is so funny, ha ha ha. Why do you think girls are like, oh sir? Why they do all this shit? Why? Because the guy who is rich and powerful, he will benefit you if he finds favors with you. So why these people are kissing this guy? Sir, oh, you're so amazing. Because they want something. What is in it for me? Oh, he's rich. He can be of use to me. Oh, he's influential. He will do something for me one day. Oh, his advice and guidance can benefit me. Others, people give a fuck. So reverse this. Flip this argument on its head. So that is why when I meet someone, I always think, what benefit can I give them? What value can I give them? And I answer the question directly or indirectly, implicitly or explicitly, what is in it for me, for that person. And when you can do this effectively, oh, the world is at your feet, man. And I'll tell you, it need not be something big. It need not be sexual favors, or it need not be, oh, I'm poor, I don't have any money, what will I give them? No, all this is not required. What is required is that this person finds something. It can be a character, it can be a trait, it can be your friendship. Yeah, there are so many guys who are poor, who are not rich, who get into it. Hey doggies, he is marking his territory. See this guy, marking his territory to tell, I'm the big alpha dog here, he is the male. This is a female, this is another smaller male. Hey doggy. He's a male, but he doesn't feel very confident. This one is a female. So this guy is an alpha male. So he likes to mark. That is why, if you notice, he is not running away. See? He's not. He's not running. Now he ran away. What happened? Hey doggy, this one will run. Hi, come. This one only barks at me when the owner is there. If the owner is not there, he's pretty timid. Anyway, you saw some dog training. What? Dog whisperer, Caesar Milan. You should see that. It's nice, man. I like the way he tames dogs. Okay. So what is it? Okay, the number 3. Now this one is tough. Very, very tough. And if you can do it, hats off to you. Okay, what is it? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. You know, many of the creators do that. I thought I'll do it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash the like button, share and comment and support the channel and Patreon and all that. I don't know, fucking Patreon. Send some money. Okay, whatever. Fuck. Okay, forget all that. Okay, point number 3 is, this one is a trait which not many people have mastered, but if you can master, it's great. Create a persona, a brand. I know you're saying, oh shit, Loy, come on, personal branding. Listen, I'll give you simple logic. You saw my face, you'll never forget it, correct? Why? You saw my video, the way I talk, very different. I'm not saying it's amazing, unique, right? You saw my mannerisms, you saw my, some of you saw my blogs. So there's something unique about me. I'm not saying it's amazing, I'm not saying it's great. Something different. The best example I can give you is, look at WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, or AEW. Each wrestler is a character. There's a color, there's a way of talking, either the villain or hero, funny or not funny, amazing colors. Some have neon, some have dark, some have supernatural powers, some have like a normal person, they connect you. Stone Cold was a rebel, some are very villainous. So each one takes a character, each one has a finishing move, each one has a style of talking, each one has a promo, you know. So in the same way, you as a person, you need to stand out. You know, many people tell me, Law, if you didn't have tattoos, you'd look so nice. Yes, if I didn't have tattoos, I would look nice for you, but I would be an ordinary bum. I would look like a typical Indian, typical ball. Just imagine. In fact, Google search on YouTube right now, Loy Macedo, what is that? It's a video that was done where my entire tattoo, my entire face was, they put makeup to remove the tattoos. It's done by RSN8 production, Resonate Productions. It's about not judging others. It's a short video clip. I'll play it if you want, or I'll put the link. Now, when there is no tattoos and I look nice, as people say, but then I'm ordinary. That is why when people ask me, do you regret your tattoo? Absolutely not. It makes me stand out. So many of my opportunities have come because people had that curiosity. Who's this guy? Why did he tattoo himself? And people find it very shocking. Okay, so my next point that I want to give you is the fact that you need to create a persona, a brand, an image, and if you can do that successfully, I'll tell you, the world is at your feet. Okay, then where is it? Point number 4. I've said this many times in my CV. Okay, you need to know the art of written and verbal communication. Okay, that is one. But greater than that, you need to know the art of script writing. It's called script writing. If you're a wordsmith, just write down these words. Wordsmith, or you know the art of script writing. You will know what to write, how to tell a story, how to market yourself, how to sell yourself, how to persuade others, how to describe yourself. And then when you can do it in the written form, automatically you can do it in the verbal form. And you could say I just got lucky, because in my case, I love talking. So as to talk, and I wanted to take part in public speaking and win awards. But in order to do that, you have to learn how to write. So I was forced to do that. I didn't have a choice. Though I did not get an award, girls would not see me, I'd not get famous. So I was too busy write. Oh, it was so much fun. Writing down words and memorizing slangs and trying to win a debate and all that. But it has taken me nearly 20 years. So like they say, you start somewhere. Okay? And the last point, last and not the least, the secret to succeed in UAE or the Middle East. See these dogs, how they're tired. Hey doggy, come. Hey doggy, come. Always barking at me when the owners are there. Now, it's like our typical Indians. Hey, what are you going to fight with when they have 10, 20 guys? Or online, on the keyboard. Bastard, I'll kill you. But the minute they are face to face with you, hello sir, hello. They do the same thing on online dating platforms and are very bold. But when they meet the girl, they're shivering like this. If you want me to make a video on online dating, and you can tell me, I'll make a separate one. Last and not the least, if possible, read this book, The Art of War, okay, by Sun Tzu, some Zhu, Chinese name, Art of War, by whatever, okay. I would not only recommend you read The Art of War, try to understand it, try to let it sink into your psychology. Now, I did not read Art of War when I was young, but I knew that I had to practice the art of survival. See, there is this slang or slogan that if you can survive in Mumbai, India, you can survive anywhere. Or they'll tell you this, if you're street smart, or you know how to survive on the streets, or they even say, graduated from the school of hard knocks. Now, what does all this mean? If you're a street person, person on the streets, it's either killed or be killed. It's a dog eat dog world. It's either you live or you die. In fact, people who have to survive in prisons, every second, every hour, you're having a shower, you're sitting down, you're eating food, you better watch your back or your... Obviously, I didn't go to prison, thankfully. But I could tell you from the being on the streets, nobody gives a fuck, nobody cares a damn about you, nobody wants to know you, unless you're something of benefit to them. And when you're a benefit to them, when they're sweet and nice to you, then you better be on your guard. The point, if I have to make it here in a single sentence, think like a strategist, a war general. Think it's a war, it's a fight. It's a competition to death. Think extreme. Be so competitive. It's either someone put a gun to your head or your opponent's head, and one of you will lose. Now, if in case you don't care about death, think they put it on someone you love versus them. You wouldn't want any harm to come to them, right? So in the same way, look at the wind. Look at the wind. The trees are shaking. Crazy. So the point here is, when you think competitive, survival of the fittest, when you're like, do or die, you don't take things lightly. You really, really are on a heightened sense of awareness. That's what they call it, heightened sense of awareness, where everything is super sharp and super focused, So you have to be like this in order to survive in UAE. So yeah, guys, these are the 5 points. If you notice, I didn't say anything about education. I didn't say anything about even a driver's license. All that you can get. I didn't say anything about work hard. All that is there. I didn't even say, come to me and make a CV. That's part of the equation. But these 5 points that I gave you, if you can master them, fine. Don't even bother. In fact, do you know that I never had a CV in UAE for the last, I think from 30 to, from the age of 30, never had a CV. Never. After I got that job in Quick Electric, where I was a marketing manager, I never had a CV, never bothered. I was to just go communicate and has to follow these 5 principles. So this is what I suggest to you, how you can succeed in the UAE, even like without a CV, or what are the secrets. So let me know, put down your thoughts, and if you want those other 2 topics which I told you, how this guy kind of convinced the CEO without anything to become his best friend, and impact of online dating, being that everyone is today online. Put your thoughts down below and let me know what you think. Also, if I missed any points, please feel free to share. Even I learn from you guys. All right, you guys take care. Me signing off.